Graduation is always an anxious time for young learners on the threshold of the real world. Even COVID-19 has created new uncertainties. A ceremony when qualified learners are conferred an academic degree by their school. It is the best time where our learners reap the fruits of their labor and sacrifices. It is when they pay tribute to the hardships of their parents and give honor to the teachings of their second parents, their teachers. It is when they are about to bid temporary goodbye to their classmates, friends, and alma mater.
Welcome to Cabalaoangan Elementary School Virtual Graduation and Moving Up Ceremony 2021 with the theme Strengthening the Quality of Education Amid the COVID-19 Pandemic. One of the biggest challenges of the distance learning during the COVID-19 crisis is to keep learners engaged. The teacher's role becomes crucial as for making sure that the learners stay engaged and do not lose their motivation. At this juncture, we present to you the teaching force of Cabalaoangan Elementary School.
Bayang magiliw, dalas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titim mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupi, di ka pa sisigil, sa dagat at bulok, sa simoy at sa langit mo mahal. Mahilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang istak ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na naglilingin. Ang bituing at araw na kailan pang may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw na iwan ating pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na kapay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Dear God, today we join with heaven as we celebrate and give thanks for every student in our school, especially those who are going to the next stage of their educational journey. Thank you that each one is unique and brimming with potential. Thank you for leading them in their learning, for keeping them safe as they study, and for watching over them in their work activities. We pray that they may all feel proud this day and enjoy sharing their achievements with family and friends. May today be a memory that burns bright within them as they embark on life's great adventure with gratitude and love for you. We pray this in the sweetest name of Jesus. Amen.
Region 1, Region 1.
tied to the sturdy ends. Men, women, young and old, find hope and glory in this fold. This home of great joy and gladness, of fertile and green valleys, nature that captures the eye and soul. Oh, let the heart of doubt and peace, east to west, from north to south, faithful ones pack and gather at the pilgrim of the North, whispering a common prayer resounding. Mabuhay, mabuhay, Pangasinan to I sing mabuhay to you. Oh, men, women, young and old, find hope and glory in this fold. Oh, I sing mabuhay, Pangasinan too.
Imbag nga bigatyo amin kakabsat di Barangay Cabalaoangan Elementary School. Today is the time of our day of graduation. Maraming salamat po sa mga sipag at tiyaga ng mga magulang sa kanilang sakripisyo sa kanilang mga anak upang kapagtapos nila ngayon ang kanilang mga pag-aaral sa mababang baitang. At sa mga mag-aaral, binabati ko kayo sa inyong sipag sa pag-aaral at sana ay suklihan ninyo ng isa pang sipag para sa inyong kinabukasan, para sa inyong mga magulang, at sa kanilang mga sipag, sana'y masuklihan din ninyo ng magandang halimbawa na kayo ang mga pag-asa ng barangay, pag-asa ng bayan. Kayo ngayon ang mag-uumpisa na gagawa ng ikabubuti ng iyong pag-aaral at ganun din po sa tulong ng mga guro na masisipag na nagturo sa kanilang mga estudyante. Binabati ko rin po lahat ang mga guro sa Cabalaoangan Elementary School, lalong-lalo na po ang ating principal na si Madam Ruina Pabilico Palisok. Dahil sa sipag niya ay napagtapos ngayon ang mga mag-aaral. Kahit sa hirap po ng buhay, dahil sa COVID-19, mga mahal kong mag-aaral, mahal kong guro, mga mahal kong magulang, mga mahal kong kabarangay, sabay-sabay po tayong manalangin upang mawala na po ang COVID-19 sa buong mundo. Nang sa ganon ay paibalik po natin ang dating sigla at dating saya ng ating mga mag-aaral, ganun din po sa ating mga mahal sa barangay, lalong-lalo na po ang mga magulang. But before I forget, I would like to greet to all BXW and CBO for their job well done as a frontliner for this COVID-19. Muli po, ako'y nagpapasalamat bilang isang punong barangay ng Barangay Cabalaoangan, ang iyong lingkod, Rinaldo Bautista Obidosa. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat at tayo'y magkaisang manalangin muli para mawala po ang COVID-19 sa buong mundo. Binabati ko kayong mag-aaral na sana'y pagbutihin niyo muli ang inyong pag-aaral at nang sa ganun ang Panginoong Diyos ay lagi po sa inyo na napapatnubay at ganoon din sa mga magulang. Ang Panginoong Diyos ang tutulong sa inyo upang mapagtapos ninyo ang inyong mga anak sa kanilang pag-aaral at sa kanilang igagaganda ng kanyang kinabukasan. Muli po, ako po'y nagpapasalamat at maraming salamat sa Panginoong Diyos na tayo magkaisa sa hirap at ginhawa, sa proyekto ng mga barangay at sa paglilinis sa ating barangay. Ay nagpapasalamat ako ng lubos. Tayo po ay nagkaisa sa tulong ng Panginoong Diyos. Ay nagawa po natin lahat yan. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Rekta, Cabalaoangan, God bless us all.
The message of our Department of Education Secretary, Leonor Magtolis Briones. I would like to express my warmest greetings and congratulations to the graduating learners, faculty, school officials, and staff for their commencement exercise for school year 2020-2021. In behalf of the Department of Education, I am honored to be part of the accomplishments and milestones of this year's graduating batch. Despite being tested in an extraordinary time, our learners persevered and made valuable gains for their future. While this historic season gave unprecedented challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, I am confident that this new breed of Filipino nation builders, one that has experienced unusual obstacles, will be vital in moving the country for the years to come. Our heroes in the history of our country have faced many challenges without hesitation and fear to seek truth and freedom through education, and like those today who continue to go great lengths to assiduously provide support for our education, they stand firm in Jose Rizal's words, "Without education and liberty, which are the soil and the Son of Man, no reform is possible. No measure can give the result desired." Let this ceremony be a reminder that we can overcome anything through our concerted efforts, and with DepEd supporting you in every way possible, we will be able to respond to every challenge, especially in the basic education sector. For our parents and teachers, we are greatly indebted to the dedication that you have given to your children during this crisis. Truly, your efforts have come to fruition as we celebrate this momentous day. Let us continue to seek growth and opportunities for a safer, healthier, and kinder place to nurture our future leaders and nation builders.
It is with great pleasure and admiration that I convey my best wishes and profound felicitations to all the graduates, completers, and academic awardees of the S. Schul Year 2020-2021 graduation and moving up ceremonies are the much-awaited events in the life of every learner, as they represent the golden times of reaching higher education and achieving dreams and aspirations indeed. Finishing this challenging school year during these trying times of COVID-19 pandemic is remarkable, since it has been inevitable to face and accept the new normal landscape of education. It has been a school year of extraordinary hard work, dedication, and passion for all school leaders, teachers, learners, and parents in dealing and coping with chosen learning delivery modality to meet most essential educational requirements. Likewise, the incessant motivation and support of parents towards the seemingly thorny road to success caused by the global health crisis as well. as the strict obedience to various health and safety protocols have enormously pitched into this moment of your graduation and completion. My dear graduates and completers, you have just marked our significant milestone in your continued quest for excellence and successful future. Certainly, more challenges will still come your way. However, stay focused and always remember that your dream is within reach when you are determined and committed. My beloved parents, accept my heartfelt gratitude. Thank you for being an effective and efficient partner of the deep in the implementation of distance learning. Your untiring support is a deeper reflection of the unconditional love you bestowed to the learners through the years. Undoubtedly, you have greatly contributed to the fulfillment of the mandate of the DepEd, Sulong Edukalidad. My sincere commendations to all the school administrators, faculty members, and non-teaching staff for providing the highest degree of service.
Para sa bata, para sa bayan.
Finally, with this happy celebration of your graduation and completion, it is with confidence to say that you have given our theme for this year, strengthening the quality of education amid the COVID-19 pandemic, a very special meaning. Congratulations and have a wonderful graduation day and moving up ceremony.
The Department of Education, SDO Pangasinan 2, wish to congratulate our proud graduates, Batch 2021. Our warmest greetings to our school managers, teachers, staff, parents, and guardians who have helped and guided our graduates attain their momentous event in their lives. Graduation is a testimony to the enduring and resilient spirit of the Filipinos for their ability to stand up, to bounce back, and to conquer the odds, just like the ongoing hardship and challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Through our innate optimism to see the light and the end of every challenges in life. For so many times, we have proven that we can surmount any adversity by sharing a hand with each other in times of darkness and trials. The many challenging moments we've endured tempted us, sometimes to give up, but our heart refuses to be broken by deep distress. We don't lose our hope because of the strong faith we share with each other, even in the most trying time of circumstances. We may be battered, but definitely never defeated. Having undergone a lot of honing and guidance through the patient, loving, and caring tutelage of your teachers, you graduates are now ready to face the new chapter of your educational journey. Life challenges may not be easy, but you've learned at home and in school that success never comes easy the way we wish it, but rather through hard work and perseverance inspired by our Divine Almighty, which serves as our guiding light. To the graduates, again, my congratulations. We wish you all the best in your journey towards reaching your dreams and aspirations. God bless and mabuhay. I wish to convey my warmest congratulations to all of you, our dear completers, graduates, and our awardees of the school year 2020-2021. You all have traveled a long and challenging journey, and everyone worked hard to reach this stage of success. I sincerely admire your remarkable and sterling performance you have shown along the way. With the athlete theme, Kalidad ng edukasyon, lalong patatagin sa gitna ng pandemya. The graduation moving up ceremony highlights the care and concern of the Department of Education that amid all the challenges, your right to quality education and to safety from the health risk of COVID-19, which has changed the landscape of education delivery, should be given priority. Without doubt, you are now equipped with the necessary knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Continue to strive more. There are lots of opportunities widely spread for your next journey to the road of success. Clearly, they are not far from where are you now. Build a dream, and nothing can bar you for reaching that dream. Continue to the next ladder of education and venture into worthwhile activities. Not even this public health emergency we are facing today can hamper you from doing it. Remove all your fears, anxieties, and doubts being caused by this pandemic, and with God's guidance and grace, you can overcome all the trials that will come your way. To the graduates, again, my congratulations. We wish you all the best in your journey towards reaching your dreams and aspirations. God bless and mabuhay.
Magandang buhay po sa ating lahat. Unang-una, nais ko pong mabigyang pugay ang ating mahal na Panginoon sa ating pong mga natatanggap na biyaya. Pangalawa, sa inyo pong mga nagsikap at naghirap na mga guro, mga magulang at lalong-lalo na po sa ating mga mag-aaral na magtatapos at magpupromote na naman sa antas ng kanilang pag-aaral. Alam niyo po, napaka naninibago ang lahat sa sitwasyon natin ngayon dahil nasa isang pandemya na nararanasan natin. Actually, hindi lang naman po dito sa atin, kung hindi sa lahat ng bansa. It's a global crisis that we are experiencing right now. Kaya naiba po ang takbo ng buhay natin, no? Sa isang iglap lang, sa isang kumpas ng kamay, natigil lahat. Nawala po ang karamihan ng kanilang mga trabaho, nagsarado ang mga negosyo, at sa ating mga mag-aaral ay nahinto rin po ang pag-aaral nila. At dahil na rin sinasabi nga natin, the show must go on, kailangan po tayong gumawa ng mga paraan upang maging may tuloy ang pag-aaral ng ating mga anak. Kaya yung kagawaran po ng pag-aaral, DepEd ay gumawa ng sistema kung saan po pwede pong magtuloy-tuloy ang ating mga anak sa kanilang pag-aaral, dahil alam naman po natin na ang edukasyon ay napaka-importante. At siyempre, hindi naman natin pwedeng ganun-ganun na lang na ihinto, kasi alam naman po natin na hindi po pwedeng ibalik ang panahon, di ba? Hindi po kagaya ng para kang nanonood ng isang pelikula sa isang DVD na pag mayroon kang nakaligtaan na hindi napanood ay pwede mong ibalik. Pero ang panahon po ay hindi po natin pwedeng ibalik. Kaya kailangan magtuloy-tuloy po tayo at kailangan magtulungan po tayo. Dahil ang sa panahon ngayon ay hindi lamang pong isa dapat ang gagawa. Lahat po. May parte ang mga magulang, may parte ang mga guro, ang ating pamahalaan, at lalong-lalo na po kayong mga mag-aaral. Kasi alam niyo po, sa sitwasyon natin ngayon, na pag maraming nawala ng trabaho at tayo po ay bumalik sa normal, of course, maghahanap po ng mga kawani ang mga nagsarang trabaho, mga kumpanya, mga nagsarang mga establishmento, at ang hahanapin nila yung may mga natapos. Kaya mahalaga po ang pag-aaral, hindi lamang ngayon na pandemya, kung di dati pa po, palagi kong sinasabi na ito po ay magiging armas natin. At ang edukasyon, sabi ko nga palagi kong sinasabi na ang edukasyon ang pinakamahalagang may papamana ng mga magulang sa ating mga anak. Dahil ito po ay hindi nawawala. Hindi po ito nananakaw. This is a private property of an individual. Kung hindi nadadagdagan pa po ito pag tayo po ay nag-aaral palagi. Di ba? And this is kumbaga sa isang digmaan sa mundo, in the reality of this world, we need education to combat everything, especially poverty. Kaya sa inyo pong lahat, na mga mag-aaral, ay magtulungan po tayo dahil nasa sa inyo rin po yan. At huwag po nating isipin na dahil sa COVID ay mahihinto ang lahat. Dati nga po sinasabi nila, di ba, palaging kahirapan, dahil sa kahirapan hindi nakapag-aral. Ngayon, may dagdag. Dahil sa COVID at kahirapan, hindi makapag-aral. Pero sana po gawin po nating oportunidad yung pagkakataon na ito. At alam ko naman ang mga Pilipino na kagaya po natin ay matatalino. No? Huwag po nating sayangin yung pagkakataon. Maski na mayroon pong ganitong COVID, dapat maging matatag po tayo, maging alerto, at maging creative. No? At alam ko naman, nakikita nyo naman, marami na ngayon yung mga nawawalan nga ng trabaho, nakakahanap ng panibagong pagkakakitaan dahil sa pandemya. Dahil sa pandemya nito, lumabas ang mga talento ng ating mga kababayan. At kayo rin po, mga mag-aaral, sana po magtiyaga po tayo. Mas lalo pa po tayong nating galingan kasi alam ko po yung sakripisyo ng ating mga magulang. Marami po ang mga magulang po natin, especially yung mga nagtatrabaho sa abroad. Ngayon, umuwi na kasi wala na din silang pagtatrabahoan doon dahil sa COVID. Tulungan natin sila. Tulungan natin sila, mga anak, mga mag-aaral. At ang the best na may tutulong natin, yung makatapos tayo ng pag-aaral at mag-aaral tayong mabuti. So again, congratulations sa inyong lahat. Mabuhay po kayong mga guro. Alam kong marami po kayong sakripisyo, lalong-lalo na po sa ating mga magulang. Hindi po tayo sanay sa ganitong sitwasyon. Hindi po tayo sanay sa ganitong klase ng pag-aaral na walang face-to-face, modular at online lesson. Pero yan po ngayon ang trend na at kumbaga ay wala na po tayong iba pang magagawa pa kung hindi sumunod po tayo sa ikabubuti ng lahat, lalong-lalo na po sa ating mga mag-aaral. Keep safe, sundin po natin ang minimum health requirement. Palagi po tayong magsuot ng face mask, face shield, at po sa ating mga magulang ay magpabakuna po sana tayo. Pag nandyan na po yung mga bakuna, wag po kayong matakot, safe po ang bakuna. At magpalista po kayo sa inyong mga barangay upang sa ganun ay nakasama po kayo sa mga listahan na kung saan po ay anytime pag dumating po ay pwede po kayong dumating ang mga bakuna ay pwede po kayong tawagin. Okay, so congratulations at mabuhay po kayo. Keep it up at kita-kita ulit po tayo sa mga susunod pang pagkakataon at maraming salamat. God bless us all. Iili umasenso.
It is an honor to present to you our guest speaker for this year's virtual graduation and moving up ceremony. She graduated her elementary education here at Cabalaoangan Elementary School as Class 2007 First Honorable Mention and finished her secondary education at San Quintin National High School as Class 2011 Fourth Honorable Mention. She pursued her Bachelor of Science in Accountancy at the University of Luzon, Dagupan City last April 11, 2016. In the same year, she took and passed the board for Certified Public Accountant and presently working as Revenue Officer 2 at the Regional District Office 6 of BIR Urdaneta City. Ladies and gentlemen, our guests of honor and speaker, Ms. Rochelle Angeli D. Obanya.
Dedicated and loving teachers of Cabalaoangan Elementary School headed by the gorgeous and revered principal, Madam Rowena Palisuk, barangay officials, PTA officers, our dear and supportive parents, graduates, a blissful moment. First of all, I would like to congratulate the class of 2021 and of course to the proud parents who have great participation, contribution, and sacrifices in the achievement of your children this year. This past year has been stressful and really challenging due to the difficulties brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. One of these is that we were forced to adopt the distant learning system to ensure the continuity of education. As we know it, learners engage themselves in understanding the concepts and lessons presented in the modules as they develop a sense of responsibility while learning on their own and accomplishing the tasks provided in the modules. Of course, with the help of our first teachers, our dear parents. On the other hand, teachers are also working hard to fill the learning gaps to cope with the situation. Yet, with you all here, hearing this message, proof that you all persevered and made it to that final stage of Cabalaoangan Elementary School. Today marks another pinnacle in your life journey. And in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic, you have completed your elementary education. Even though you will not be able to feel the excitement and joy of marching on the stage wearing white toga, still, you're lucky enough to have this virtual graduation ceremony. As you go on to the next phase of your life, remember that not only COVID-19 virus is infectious, but courage, dedication, and dreams are also contagious. So please, go and achieve your dreams and aspirations. Every moment in your life serves as the next stepping stone to something greater. With that, be ready to explore the beauty of high school life. Bear in mind that education is a very precious key that can open doorways to endless opportunities and possibilities, and it's the best legacy that no one can take away from you. Equip yourself with it so you can help yourself and your family alleviate its present situation and contribute to our country in attaining its desired improvement and progress. Naalala ko, during my elementary days, my parents always remind me to thrive and rise up to challenges and excel no matter what the situation is, because they want me to become successful someday. Although para sa akin, napakahirap mag-aral at that time kasi puro laro lang ang gusto kong gawin noon. But as a kid with big dreams, I realized that I have to learn to love my lessons because I want to fulfill my parents' dreams. Sabi ko, dapat maging successful ako so that my sisters will also be inspired, and higit sa lahat para matulungan ko din ang parents ko. My parents serve as my inspiration. They did all their best to send us to school and finish our chosen career. Ang pagmamahal at pagpupursige nila ang naging gabay at inspirasyon ko para malagpasan lahat ng hirap mula elementarya hanggang kolehiyo. Sa huli, lagi niyong tatandaan na kung ang kahirapan ay di balakid para makamtan niyo ang inyong mga pangarap, mas lalong hindi mapipigilan ng COVID-19 ang pagkamit niyo ng inyong mga hangarin at mithiin sa buhay. bagkus naway magsilbi itong inspirasyon para lalo niyong pagbutihin ang inyong pag-aaral sa kabila ng hirap na dala ng pandemya. Education is very powerful. It can change directions, give hope, and fulfill dreams. Thank you and congratulations, Cabalaoangan Elementary School, Batch 2021.
Sir, I have the honor to present to you the 91 kindergarten completers and 97 candidates for graduation of Cabalaoangan Elementary School who have satisfactorily completed the requirements prescribed by the Department of Education under the Basic Education Curriculum. Sir, the candidates ready for your acceptance and confirmation.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the DepEd Secretary Leonor Magtoles Briones, through the Regional Director, Dr. Tolentino G. Aquino, and in my capacity as the Schools Division Superintendent of SDO Pangasinan 2, acting upon the strong recommendations of your school head and teachers that you have satisfactorily completed all the requirements for graduation prescribed by the DepEd on elementary or secondary education, I now accept and confirm you graduates of your respective schools for the school year 2020-2021. On the day of our Lord, July 2021, thereby granting you the right to enjoy all the privileges attached to it. Congratulations.
Guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen, with pride and honor, let us welcome the completers of school year 2020-2021. Kindergarten completers, Advisor, Mrs. Babylin M. Antalan. Abiles Jairo R. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Robert S. Abiles. Alfilor R.J. P. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mario E. Alfilor. Alonzo John D. O. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rialonzo B. Alonzo. Arquero Stephen L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ernesto O. Arquero. Arquero Stephen L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ernesto O. Arquero. Benigno Chris Bronson C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Christopher N. Benigno. Botea Edward M. Proud parent, Mrs. Lolita M. Botea. Cabaluna Ralph Christian C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rani R. Cabaluna Jr. Kanaway Ralph Zion A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joker S. Kanaway. Cancino Jerome Kyle A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Julius C. Cancino. Corpus Chris Reynald A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo B. Corpus. Dariano Mark Angelo D. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marlo E. Dariano. Domingo Lance P. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jolie O. Domingo. Gaboyo James Albert O. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. T.J. James M. Gabuyo. Galvan Mark Rafael L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ruben H. Galvan. Ganaden Delven U. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Domingo O. Ganaden. Gonzales Zian Kyle S. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Zalde A. Gonzales. Loveranes James A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romulo C. Loveranes. Macalanda Kenneth C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rufino A. Macalanda. Obilio Kim Darwin D. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Darwin R. Obilio. Obilio Olito III A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Olito A. Obilio Jr. Obilio Renz Gabriel. Proud parent, Mrs. Julie I. Obilio. Officiar Denver Dave E. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dennis A. Officiar. Orbilio Muhammad Razul G. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jefferson V. Orbilio. Ortiz Carlo S. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Richard P. Ortiz. Serkinia John Paul. Proud parent, Mrs. Saturnina P. Serkinia. Serkinia Zian J. B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Noel P. Serkinia. Sibayan Kyrie Irvin N. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arsenio D. Sibayan. Aquino Regine M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Recto A. Aquino. Arquero Jeline T. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Armin T. Arquero. Arquero Queen Princess L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Quezon B. Arquero. Betchaida Rhea R. Proud parent, Mrs. Julieta R. Betchaida. Benigno Cristina P. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Christian N. Benigno. Espirito Crizel and D. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Soren O. Espiritu. Gambala Myra Fe P. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arnold R. Gambala. Inco Lian Andrea C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Adrian B. Inco. Legaspi Crystal May M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Fernando O. Legaspi. Loveranes Island C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Agosto C. Loveranes. Mercado Stephanie D. Proud parent, Mrs. Brenda G. De la Cruz. Moreno Amanda Erim V. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Edmond L. Moreno. Pariñas Daniela J. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gary Leo M. Pariñas. Pascua Marciana E. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Freddy U. Pascua. Regoyal Queen Daisy M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gabriel S. Regoyal Jr. Regoyal Shirel Angeline A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alvin R. Regoyal. Ventura Lucena B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Carlos G. Ventura. Yu Gian Joyce V. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mark Glenn V. Yu. Kindergarten Fabia. Advisor, Mrs. Eva O. Fabia. Atienza Mark Regan P. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marcelino Atienza. Atis El Nathan C.J.S. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jeffer T. Atis. Aturdido Cian Frank E. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Melchor B. Aturdido. Baltazar Mark Jaren. Proud parent, Mrs. Marisa S. Baltazar. Borges Erickson Jr. R. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Erickson Z. Borges. Dagang Adin Chad S. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Christopher A. Dagang. De la Cruz Raven A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Francisco P. De la Cruz. Delizo Gabriel. Proud parent, Mrs. Flora May E. Delizo. Estrada Ace A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rodel R. Estrada. Gamis General S. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dino O. Gamis. Legaspi Dominic V. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dondi L. Legaspi. Magbanwa Mark Gervin E. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mark Twain C. Magbanwa. Parilla Raymond Jr. B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Raymond Parilla Sr. Salango Royben Drake G. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronald V. Salango. Sebastian Wayne Charles A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Welmar Z. Sebastian. Sopnet Robert O. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Erwin C. Sopnet. Mingrahal Franklin U. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Franklin P. Mingrahal. Alarcio Jovelin G. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jojos Alarcio. Arquero Devrani Rizka S. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Danilo O. Arquero. Arquero Precious Heart U. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Freddy O. Arquero. Arquero Reafe B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Raque D. Arquero. Asho Queen Kyra L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. John Michael S. Asho. Bautista Maria Agnes A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jessie E. Bautista. Cacho Linardine E. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rolly Jane E. Cacho. Calderon Zia Nakisha A. Proud parent, Mrs. Joanne E. Asuncion. Cancino Benlian Evany A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Benedict C. Cancino. Cillian Mikaya Grace L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Augusto Cillian. De la Peña Erica May C. Proud parent, Mrs. Rowena Ubilio. Del Rosario Evangeline A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rodolfo M. Del Rosario Sr. De Vera Angelica R. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Christopher P. De Vera. Estrada Mary Rose B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reduce O. Estrada. Fernando Ruana E. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Robert O. Fernando. Ferrer Elisha Faith B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Antonio T. Ferrer. Gutierrez Mona Luis P. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rengil A. Gutierrez. Javien Jazel Hans O. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jaylord C. Javien. Lutrania Keith Catral S. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Paul Christian C. Lutrania. Navarro Fiona Jasmine B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. John Edberge L. Navarro. Olais Regine A. Proud parent, Mrs. Isa O. Albao. Orbilio Casey L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Orlando M. Orbilio. Ordanza Akiza D. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joey P. Ordanza. Ordanza Eliza D. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joey P. Ordanza. Pahe Christine Joy T. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Christian J. O. Pahe. Salango Ruben Dame G. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronald V. Salango. Sambo Merveline Alea B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Domingo E. Sambo. Tabangkura Christine A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jemar C. Tabangkura.
Ladies and gentlemen, graduates of school year 2020-2021. To start with the grade 6 section 1 under the advisory of Mrs. Judiel Odriz Z. Ilarde. Aguilar Earl Andre E. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arnold B. Aguilar. Coquia Prince Joseph E. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alan Joseph I. Coquia. De Los Santos Sean Kylie M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Anthony Y. De Los Santos. Gabriel Ralph Andre V. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Juanito O. Gabriel. Pavilionar Mark Rainiel B. Proud parent, Mrs. Irene R. Baniket. La Chica Luis Vincent A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jonard A. La Chica. Liam Sean Jared F. Proud parent, Mrs. Evangeline S. Fabro. Parinas David J. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gary Leo M. Parinas. Piedad Arju O. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo B. Piedad. Ramirez Del John M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dominador A. Ramirez. Ramirez Janal C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Leonardo A. Ramirez. Saison Glenn Wade P. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dominic B. Saison. Sibayan John Michael P. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Domingo C. Sibayan. Season Justin Yu. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jerry B. Season. Antalan Edlin Grace M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Edgardo E. Antalan. Asuncion Ronaldin G. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nelson E. Asuncion. Balbin Kristen Joy L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marlo N. Balbin. Kakam Doña Angelica D. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Orlan D. Kakam. Katabay Laika Jane O. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ramil R. Katabay. Cristuta Jamira Isabella B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jessie James C. Cristuta. De la Cruz Precious R. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Pio P. De la Cruz. Evangelista Maria Samantha K. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mark Anthony and Evangelista. 14 Melly B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Manolito O. 14. Gagarin Alitea M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Michael Gagarin. Gusi John Jella Marie M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Edgar B. Gusi. Madriaga Zaya N. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ryan L. Madriaga. Menes Kathleen May S. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Casimir N. Menes. Onato Catiel Angela N. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph F. Onato. Ordinario Nicole Angeli A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rodolfo F. Ordinario Jr. Ordinario Princess S. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alan S. Ordinario. Pahe Princess Ryan P. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Christian J. O. Pahe. Ramirez Queenidel J. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romadel A. Ramirez. Sanatana Jaika M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arnello A. Sanatana. Urbano Charmaine Grace O. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Winston O. Urbano. Valdez Bernadette L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jeffrey T. Valdez. Valdez Sapphire M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arnold L. Valdez. The Grade 6, Section 2 class, under the advisory of Mrs. Jameline A. Molines. Aaron Robert M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jojo C. Aaron. Cerezo John Kirby M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joan O. Cerezo. Dakel John Christian M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Pablo R. Daquel Jr. De la Cruz J. Mark Joseph C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jesus G. De la Cruz. Domingo Mark Joseph C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Francisco S. Domingo. Estrada Reyno Jr. A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reyno S. Estrada Sr. Gakayan King James R. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. George G. Gakayan. Galvan Gian M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ruben H. Galvan. Obra Dominic L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dominador A. Obra. Parilla Clarence Kyle T. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jason Parilla. Piedad John Nico S. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Manolito D. Piedad Sr. Sibayan Charles Joshua B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Esteban P. Sibayan. Soriano Neil Calvin N. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Chris V. Soriano Jr. Asho Precious IZM. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mark Jim S. Asho. Aturdido Katrina M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Francisco M. Aturdido III. De Leon Princess Danielle M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Danielle S. De Leon Jr. Domingo Princess Abigail C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Donato C. Domingo Jr. Domingo Queenie Ruth C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Donato C. Domingo Jr. Estrada Charisse J. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Sofronio F. Estrada. German Gina L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jerry O. German. Lopez Aprilline O. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Agosto P. Lopez. Mamaril Rian N. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo B. Mamaril. Moreno Princess Glory D. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronaldo G. Moreno. Neblaska Ira Nicole M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alex C. Neblaska. Obanya Tina C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Eric M. Obanya. Ong Janica B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dennis O. Ong. Opinia Rose Ann P. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alejandro V. Opinia Jr. Ramos Romelia U. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romeo R. Ramos Jr. Sibayan Rayalin C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ricardo P. Sibayan. Valen Marian Grace E. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mark J.B. S. Valen. Valino Ashley Yeshamine O. Proud parent, Mrs. Princess O. Valino. Yu Rakilin P. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rocky O. Yu. The Grade 6, Section 3 pupils. under the advisory of Mr. Romualdo C. Oliveros. Andres Junmar M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. June M. Andres. Arquero Alexis O. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Kimpin B. Arquero. Balala Jonathan L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rogelio A. Balala. Benigno Darwin Jr. B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Darwin C. Benigno Sr. Botea John Elmer M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Elmer A. Botea. Cacalda Darwin V. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Christopher C. Cacalda. De Guzman Dennis G. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Chester M. De Guzman. Domingo Jimboy B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Randy G. Domingo. Henessa Alexander V. C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alexander A. Henessa Jr. Gonzalez John Harvey S. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Zaldi A. Gonzalez. Marzon John Raven M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. John Michael V. Marzon. Mialdo Justin Raven P. Proud parents, Mrs. Nancy P. Mialdo. Obanya Justin R. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Elizaldo O. Obanya. Punzalan DJ Ryan S. Proud parents, Litel B. Sarmiento. Tolentino Timothy M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Pepito L. Tolentino Jr. Zabala Aris B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Anthony P. Zabala. Zambrano Eric John A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Eusebio G. Zambrano III. Andrada Kyla G. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Erwin M. Andrada. Arquero Ronafe B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rocky B. Arquero. Castillo Kylie Nicole F. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nemesio T. Castillo. Cruz Zyrene May G. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rolly D. Cruz. De Los Reyes Juliana July L. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Armando P. De Los Reyes Jr. Facturan Riza P. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynante B. Facturan. Gallardo Queen Elizabeth A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Tony I. Gallardo. Loveranes Angeline C. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Augusto C. Loveranes. Maninding Novi A. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marcelo P. Maninding. Vitoriano Cristel Bren O. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Randy B. Vitoriano. Regial Princess Gabriela M. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gabriel S. Regial Jr. Reliorta Christine Joyce B. Proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ernesto T. Reliorta. And now, we present to you, with pride and honor, the Academic Excellence Awardees for school year 2020-2021. With highest honors, Evangelista Maria Samantha K. With highest honors, Madriaga Zea N. With highest honors, Ordinario Nicole Angeli A. With high honors, Kokya Prince Joseph E. With high honors, Menes Kathleen May S. With honors, Antalan Edlin Grace M. With honors, Pristuta Jamira Isabella B. With honors, De La Cruz Precious R. With honors, Gagarin Alicia M. With honors, Gusi Janjela Marie M. With honors, Ordinario Princess S. With honors, Pahe Princess Rhyme T. With honors, Piedad Arju O. With honors, Ramirez Janal C. With honors, Ramirez Quinidel J. With honors, Sanatana Jaika M. With honors, Valdez Bernadette L. With honors, Valdez Sapphire M.
To our distinguished Principal, Ma'am Rowena F. Paliso, the caring teachers, loving parents, friends, schoolmates, fellow graduates, ladies and gentlemen, a blessed day. Today is a memorable day for all of us, for we have just ended an episode of our life, elementary life. Now, we are about to start a new chapter of our journey, high school. First of all, I would like to say my thanks to all the people that helped me become the version of me today. To my teachers, for my first day here at school that kept supporting me endlessly till my last day. Thank you for being like a second parent to us. Thank you for making Cabalaoangan Elementary School feel like our second home. Thank you for being a good example to us to help us become a better person. And thank you for always being caring, even though some of you are scary with math. We know that your anger is a sign of your love for us. To my classmates, thank you for all the fun times that each of us shared in school, through those halls, and in our classroom. We didn't get to do that this school year, but it's fun reminiscing the good old days. To my friends, thank you for always being there, especially when things get tough. Thank you for cheering me up, comforting me, and making me laugh. It always did make my day. And lastly, to my family, thank you for your endless support since day one. And thank you for always offering help whenever you see that I am having a hard time. We studied in Cabalaoangan Elementary School so we could be equipped with adequate knowledge and skills and preparation for important roles that we have to play in our society someday. And throughout those 6 years, There were a lot of happy, fun, sad, and even unexpected moments. Time flew by really fast, didn't it? Thinking about the times where we're all just fooling around whenever the teachers had some important business to attend to makes me feel pretty nostalgic. You know, it's actually pretty amazing to think about how much we've all changed these past few years. I still remember my first day at school, I barely even talked. I was pretty shy back then. A lot of us were pretty shy back then. But there were always the ones who would be so social and annoying at the same time. But they were pretty fun to be with. Today, I am proud to report to all of you that no one in your class is shy anymore. They're all really confident, all really brave, and I am very happy for them. Just imagine how much will all change in the next few years. My dear co-graduates, the first step has been successful. The roots of education is bitter, but the fruit it bears is very sweet. The journey is long and laden with thorns, but our accomplishments are very rewarding. The patience and dedication each of us have shown throughout our 6 years in elementary are those that make us heroes. This is the first of a series of accomplishments that we will surely achieve with the help of our mentors, teachers, our parents, and the people around us. We have just accomplished the beginning. We have started the first right move. Hence, there is no reason why we should fail in our future undertakings. Even if things get tough, there is no reason why we should give up. Our graduation exercises today is totally different from what we've seen and done in the past, where we will be marching with our parents and receiving our diploma and awards physically. Where before, we can shake hands with our beloved teachers and embrace with our co-graduates and parents. All these will not happen today due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But we do not need to feel sad. Instead, we should be proud. Proud of ourselves for accomplishing 6 years of elementary. It was hard, especially because of our current situation right now. But we still managed to accomplish our mission. And that's something that everyone should be proud about. Some of you think that you didn't do enough. Well, you did. That's why you're graduating, isn't it? Don't think like you didn't do enough. Because you know, the worst feeling in the world is thinking that you did your best, but you're still doubting yourself, that it still isn't enough. So instead, keep going, forward, not backwards, until you finally reach your dreams. A dream where you're successful, where all the ones you love are happy, including you. And since most of us are parting ways, we may forget our classmates' faces, but we will never forget the bonds that all of us created throughout our 6 years in elementary carved in our souls. Fellow graduates, teachers, see you again next year, hopefully. Thank you.
Good day to everyone. Graduation and moving up ceremony is the biggest and the most awaited event in our school calendar. We look forward to this moment where we showcase our students' success and celebrate along with their families to mark this momentous occasion. Ako ay malugod na bumabati sa lahat ng graduates at completers ng Cabalaoangan Elementary School for school year 2020-2021. Ito ang natatanging niyong araw ng pagkilala at pagpapahalaga sa lahat ng hirap, pagod at sakripisyo upang matapos ninyo ang unang yugto ng inyong pag-aaral. Sa loob ng 1 taong panunungkulan, bilang punong guro ng Cabalaoangan Elementary School, ako ay lubos na nagagalak dahil naging bahagi ako ng inyong tagumpay. Saksi ako kung gaanong hirap, tatag at determinasyon ang inyong ipinakita upang malagpakasan ang napakabigat na hamon ng edukasyon sa taong ito dahil sa pandemya na dulot ng COVID-19 na patuloy pa rin nating dinaranas ngayon. Magsilbi sana itong hamon, lakas at inspirasyon sa inyo upang malagpasan ang lahat ng balakid at pagsubok tungo sa pagkamit ng inyong pangarap. Malugod ko ring binabati ang lahat ng guro, mga magulang at tagapangalaga ng Cabalaoangan Elementary School sa kanilang hindi matatawarang sakripisyo at hirap bilang katuwang at kabalikat para sa matagumpay na pagsasakatuparan ng printed modular distance learning. Kung wala kayo, hindi magiging madali ang pagsulong ng edukasyon sa new normal. Nais ko ring kunin ang pagkakataong ito upang magpasalamat. Una, sa ating panauhing pandangal na si Binibining Rochelle Angeli D. Ubanya, naway magsilbi kang modelo at inspirasyon ng aming mag-aaral sa pinakamimithi nilang pangarap. Pangalawa, sa lahat ng aming internal at external stakeholders na nagpaabot ng kanilang tulong at suporta upang may sakatuparan namin ang lahat ng programa at proyekto sa aming paaralan na nagbunga upang makamit namin ang ikalawang pwesto sa Division Search for Brigada Eskwela Best Implementer Medium School Category. Sana patuloy tayong magkakaisa at magtutulungan upang mapaganda at mapaunlad pang lalo ang Cabalaoangan Elementary School. Higit sa lahat, sa ating Panginoong Diyos, sa lahat ng gabay, lakas at proteksyon upang magampanan natin ang ating tungkulin tungo sa pinakamimithi nating tagumpay. Once more, my warmest congratulations to you, dear graduates and completers of Cabalaoangan Elementary School for school year 2020-2021. Be equipped, well-braced as you follow your dreams and contribute to Filipino nation. God bless and stay safe.
One, two, three, come on!